All right, I've been pushing this build off for way too long. I'm finally gonna get it done today. Well, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna finish it, but I'm definitely gonna get progress. We're gonna make progress on this build, and we're at least gonna start it. We're gonna get things out of the box. We're gonna start putting it together. This is the wall-mounted PC that I am planning to put right here. See, I've got the triple 4K monitors already. Those need to go on the wall at some point, but before I can mount those to the wall, it just makes sense that I get the PC up there first so that it's clear out of the way, so the monitors aren't in the way when I'm trying to mount it onto the wall. So it's gonna be a pretty, I've never wall mounted a PC before. It's just done on me. So this is kind of another first that I get to look forward to. I'm very excited about it, and this is definitely the most high-end custom water-cooled PC I have ever built, especially with all the new hardware coming out in the last few months. So why don't we go through the list? This is also going to be a very time-lapsey video, not too much dialogue apart from this introduction where I talk about the parts, and then you're just going to watch me build it for a while, and you're going to like it. So let's talk about the CPU first, shall we? Before that, this video is brought to you by the ASRock X570 Tai Chi Razor Edition. Game in style with vivid Razer chroma lighting from head to toe, and experience killer networking with Wi-Fi 6 and killer Double Shot Pro, which uses all of your network adapters simultaneously for maximum throughput. A 16-phase power design with Dr. Moss, 60-amp power chokes, and Nichicon black caps deliver optimal stability and overclocking headroom for any supported CPU. To learn more about the ASRock X570 Tai Chi Razor Edition, click on the link below. This is not the actual box for it, but I didn't have any other Ryzen 9 box on hand, but I am using a Ryzen 9 5950X from AMD, 16 cores, 32 threads. It really needs no introduction beyond that. We have the Revolt X 1200 watt power supply from Fantex, 80 plus platinum, fully modular, totally overkill. I'm not gonna need a 1200 watt PSU, but it matches the color scheme, which is gonna be black and silver for this build, and I already had it on hand, so I didn't need to buy one or ask a vendor for another one. So this is a very reliable unit as well. I think Fantex uses Seasonic for their PSU. So it's just their OEM and then they just rebranded under their own name, but very, very awesome unit. We also have an X570 Aqua from ASRock, a board that I received a long time ago that I've just been waiting to use ever since. This board looks beautiful. Not only does it look beautiful and has a really nice silver aesthetic, but it's also got one of the most integrated and seamless monoblocks built in that I've ever seen. A lot of motherboards that have pre-installed water blocks don't really integrate them into the rest of the aesthetic or the actual design language like this board does. It's almost like you can't really tell at first that it has a monoblock because it's not separate from everything else on the board. It's all connected, and so it looks very special. It's a very exclusive board. ASRock made a very limited number of these, and I actually have like a certain serial number, not serial number, but I guess like a special edition number printed on the board itself, and it even says Bitwit somewhere near the chipset heatsink if I remember correctly. But awesome board. Can't wait to use it. Super stoked about that. We have two drives here for storage, a 1 terabyte 660p from Intel. This is just NVMe PCIe 3, only PCIe Gen 3 speeds. This is gonna be our boot drive, but I also have a PCIe Gen 4 drive from Corsair. This is the MP600 drive that I've used extensively in the past. It's 2 terabyte capacity, so this is where all of our games are gonna go, which I should mention, this is gonna be strictly a gaming and streaming PC. All right, I'm not gonna do any work. There will be nothing but fun done on this PC, although I will be streaming for work technically sometimes. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Awesome drive, nice storage setup there. 32 gigs of DDR4, 3600 from G.Skill. This is their Trident Z Neo kit, another component that I've used extensively. And cast latency 14, dang, 3600 CL14. G.Skill hooked it up on that one, so nice 4-DIMM kit right there. We also have our GPU, the Radeon RX 6900 XT, which of course will be swapping out the stock cooler with a nice water block that they've also given me. Actually, it was kind of like this huge case from EK that they sent over when the 6900 XT was launching, and it's got everything you need for custom water cooling, but the only thing from that case that I'm actually gonna be using for this build is the GPU water block for this card. And I'm very excited to be using this. I considered NVIDIA, but you know, I've done a lot of NVIDIA builds that are custom loop in the past, and I just kind of wanted to switch things up. I think the 6900 XT is a great card. Yeah, I'm gonna miss out on NVINC and what's the other thing? Ray tracing, of course, but I honestly, I'm gonna try this out first and see how it goes. I'm gonna see what life is like streaming on a high-end system without an NVIDIA GPU. For once in my life, I'm gonna give it a shot. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, I can always swap it out later, but I'm feeling pretty confident with this card, and I don't think not having NVINC is gonna hurt me much because I'm just gonna rely on the CPU. That's why I'm putting a 16-core, 32-thread beast of a chip in here anyway. So looking forward to that. We've also got some Uni fans from Lian Li. These are their SL120 RGB fans. I used these recently in our Winter Wonderland PC, and so did the Lian Li O11D Mini Snow Edition, and they look fantastic. I'm sure they're gonna look really great in this build as well. So we will have, you know, our elements of RGB sprinkled throughout this build. There's RGB on the motherboard as well. And oh, I forgot about our case. Our case is, well, there's not a whole lot of options when it comes to wall-mounted cases, but I like the way this one looks anyway. This is the Thermaltake Core P5 T6 Black Edition. You guys have seen this case. A lot of times you don't see it wall-mounted. A lot of times you just see, you know, crazy modders or crazy builds at CES using this exact case, but they won't actually mount it on the wall. I will be. I'm gonna use this case to its fullest potential. I think it uses a VESA mount, which I still have to buy, so we're not gonna be mounting the PC today, let alone finishing it, but I am gonna buy a VESA mount that supports it at some point, and that's gonna go, again, up there on those, there are wood studs. There are wood studs in that wall. This is the wall that we built after we moved in. So there's tons of wood studs, should be totally secure. Weight capacity shouldn't be a problem, whereas the rest of these walls, I couldn't hang it on any other walls here. I mean, I guess I could, but they have metal studs. I would have to use self-tapping screws, I believe they're called, and that would just be a whole other thing. But anyway, this case does not come assembled. I have to assemble it, so that's gonna be part of the video as well. And why don't we go over some of our water cooling hardware. Here's the EK GPU block that I was talking about. Isn't it pretty? So again, it's got that silver and black aesthetic, and it's super sexy. I don't know if that looks backlit, right? That looks super, yeah, that's definitely RGB backlit there. And I believe the GPU is gonna be mounted in this case vertically. I think you have options, but I'm gonna do it vertically. I wanna show off that Radeon logo, get it all lit up and stuff. It'll look sweet. It also came with the backplate in that package. So this is a nice silver backplate, which you won't really be able to see if I mount it vertically, but it's just nice knowing that it's back there, I guess. We also have a Black Ice Nemesis LX 480mm radiator. I've never used a 480 before, ever. This is the first time I've ever had a 480 just in my hands at my studio. Quadruple 120 fans, absolutely insane. I picked this size because it's the maximum supported radiator for the case, and it's gonna be mounted vertically, kind of like this. So the uni fans on top of it will look really good. I should have mentioned that. These are all gonna be for the radiator. I'm not gonna use all 6, of course. I'll just use 4 of them. We'll have 2 left over for other things, but yeah, they'll be displayed loudly and proudly on top of this bad boy. Oh yeah. And then we also have fittings. Not super exciting, but these are all from Barrow? I don't know how to pronounce it, but apparently these are very similar to Bits Power fittings. I think they are definitely a bit cheaper, but I've heard that the quality is very similar. I may have even heard through the grapevine that these are actually the OEM that Bits Power uses, but I can't confirm that. I think I've just heard that once or twice before. But big bag of fittings. Hopefully I have enough and I bought the right ones to do the job. I should also mention that these are we're gonna be using 16, I believe it's, oh no, is it 14mm? Oh crap, let me check. 16mm, just confirmed 16mm tubing. It's gonna be PET. We're going hardline as we usually do. Excited about that. And oh my goodness, I'm excited about this. This right here, this baby. This is from Optimus. I've never used an Optimus product in my life, but the quality right off the bat is insane. Just like you can't, like, the camera won't do it justice, but just the machining on this thing, the overall finish of the pump down here. So I should mention that this is I believe a D5 pump. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, but there's a pump in here. It's a pump res combo, and the tube, the acrylic tube is huge, not just lengthwise, but girth. It's a girthy baby. So this will look really nice in the build. Also that silver accent to match everything else. I think I'm gonna go with distilled water, just clear. I might change my mind down the line, but you know, I've had some horror stories from using other kinds of dyes in the past, or liquids, so I might just go clear, straight up distilled. That's always the best policy after all. But yeah, those are the parts. Oh, there's one more part that's missing that's not here that will be included in the final build, and that is cables. I got some cables, some custom sleeved cables from Joey, who owns and operates nsourced.net. Go to nsource.net if you're trying to amp up your build and you want some of the best cables in the business. Joey is the man. So he made some really nice sleeved cables for me in silver, using some of his silver material, but I have yet to receive it. I got the notification weeks ago and I've been following up. It's stupid COVID. COVID and holidays combined has just delayed everything. So hopefully those get here in a reasonable manner. I'm excited to have those finally come in when they do, but for now, you can find links to all this stuff in the description. As always, let's start building. I'm gonna start with the case. Let's put the case together. Okay, bit of an update here. As you can see over there, I've kind of got the case put together for the most part. A couple more things need to get added, but for the most part, it's all put together. I had to install the power supply because that's just how the mounting bracket for it works. You need to have it already installed. And then I decided to do a BIOS update since X570 won't boot with a Ryzen 5000 series Zen 3 chip without that AGESA, whatever it's called, update. But in the process of updating the BIOS, the power turned off. Why? Why did the power turn off during a BIOS update? Because I'm an idiot. A royal effing idiot. So here's what happened. Right now the monoblock is on, it's installed and stuff, but when I was doing the BIOS update, I removed the water block. I removed it. It was already removed when I started doing it. I know, I deserve this. I honestly don't know what I was thinking. In fact, I wasn't thinking at all. I figured, oh, well, you know, I've updated BIOSes without a cooler on the CPU before, but then I realized that's just when doing a BIOS flashback, not when actually doing it from the instant flash utility. And I completely overlooked the fact that the chipset didn't have any cooling on it either. I'm not really used to working with motherboards that have built-in monoblocks like this that cover both the CPU and the chipset, so I kind of just forgot about it. It was out of sight, out of mind. So I'm not sure if it was the CPU or the chipset that overheated that caused the power to trip, but I might be f***ed. For a minute, I thought I'd be able to salvage the board using the BIOS flashback function. You can see I've already got the BIOS loaded up on the USB drive right there. I pressed the button, it started flashing for a second, and then it turned solid green, but it's been solid green for like 10 minutes now, which I don't think it's doing anything. I think it's just stuck. And I think I just bricked a $1,000 board. All right, let's just press this and see what happens. Nothing. It's not even reacting. Oh God. Oh, I don't feel so good, guys. I don't feel so good. Okay, so I've taken a minute to think about it. There's no saving the board, I'm pretty sure. It doesn't have a dual BIOS. That would have been really convenient. It'd also be very convenient if I wasn't an idiot. So here's what I'm thinking. Board's dead, but the show must go on, right? So I'm gonna continue. There's more things I can do here. I'm gonna install the water block on the GPU, which hopefully I don't f that up. And in the meantime, I'm gonna email ASRock immediately and ask them if they have any spare X570 Aquas on hand that they can send me. I know that's a tall order because these are so limited, but I figured I would ask them at least before I decide to move on to a different board. Yes, that would suck if I had to use a completely different board, but it is what it is, and I've put myself in this position, so I gotta deal with it. Apart from that, at the very least, we can at least install this motherboard into the case once, with everything else, just so we can get an idea of how it's gonna look aesthetically, assuming that we are able to get a replacement board. But that's about it. I will not be able to do anything functionally with that board, install the CPU. I'm not gonna be able to get as far along with this video or this build today as I thought. So, yay, 2020 just keeps getting better, doesn't it? All right, let's just continue before I cry. All right, here's where we're at. And I gotta say, looking pretty good. I know how to pick parts every once in a while. I can do some things right. I think just from a aesthetic standpoint, things are looking really clean. Everything matches beautifully, even little attention to details like the silver accents on the side of the uni fans matches the silver accents elsewhere. The brushed aluminum on the power supply just matches perfectly with everything else. You know, it's all looking really good. I really do hope that ASRock has a spare Aqua for me because it just, I mean, it's the perfect board for this build. It really is. Anything less, there just wouldn't be that giant splash of silver right there, you know? And I think it just looks super beastly with that monoblock, which is also RGB. There is one issue though, besides the broken motherboard. The pump bracket on this case does not line up with our pump res. It doesn't line up. See those 4 holes on the bottom? They do not line up at all with the 4 mounting holes on the bracket. They're actually slightly wider than what they need to be. So yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know. I already hit up Thermaltake. I emailed them and asked them if they have like an adapter kind of bracket for pumps like that. Because I use my EK, I tried my EK pump res as well, just a really standard one, and that was too narrow as well. Like it didn't line up at all. So I think this pump bracket might just be reserved for like the Thermaltake pump res, which if it is, and there's no way to accommodate third-party Pump reses, that's stupid. I'm just gonna say it right now. But hopefully Thermaltake has an answer, has a solution, so that we can still use this Optimus pump res because it looks super good. It looks really clean. It matches everything else, and I'm awesome. I'm so good at this. So here, let me just show you a really quick run through on what I'm thinking in terms of our runs, which is really going to be straightforward because of just how everything's laid out already. It kind of makes it easy. So we're going to start from here. Okay, we'll start from the pump res as we should. So I'm going to do like I'm going to go left just initially with like a right angle fitting, and I'm going to use a really long extender so that I can get the tube right in between this tube and the GPU. So it's going to go right in the middle, like right about here, right? Because I don't want it to, if I just went straight up, then it would be it'd be masking part of the nice tube here, which I don't want. So I'm going to go left, or right angle here, going to go out, up, over, into the GPU, and then we're gonna come out. Oh, no, okay, yeah. So we're gonna go, instead of just going straight in, which it doesn't really line up perfectly. This is assuming that we're using the Aqua board, of course. Instead of doing that, I'm gonna kind of do like a detour where I go left, up, right, back. So that's gonna be 3 bends in that one run, which is gonna be tricky, but I'm always up for a challenge with this kind of thing. So, and I think that'll look nicer, it'll look cleaner, it'll reveal more of the board, and it'll kind of space out the tubing. You're gonna have all this tubing over here. There's not gonna be anything in this corner. So I kind of wanna fill that corner in with this run, boom, come out here. This is just gonna go straight out, up, over, and in. No, oh, okay, sorry. I'm gonna do another extender here. Not an extender. I'm just gonna run the tube out further, run it along the side across, and then back into the radiator here in this port. So because it's gonna be more high, it's gonna be a taller run. It's gonna have more, I don't know, is this Z clearance, whatever. This one will be able to run underneath it as it goes left and straight down, back into the res. So that's my plan so far for the runs. Of course, things are slightly subject to change if we use a different motherboard because the inlets and outlets will be in different areas and different positions. Also, this is the inlet and this is the outlet. You can't reverse it or anything. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Also, I can't wait for the cables to get in now because now that I'm seeing it all put together, that'll just be the cherry on top. Can't wait. But I think that's pretty much gonna do it for this video, guys. I really wish, again, that I could have gone further with this build today, but I think I have enough material to throw together some semblance of a video for you guys. Hopefully this was somewhat enjoyable, and at least you guys have a better idea of what I'm planning for this ridiculous build. I cannot wait to get it on the wall when it's all said and done. But stay tuned for more updates on that. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, toss a like if you enjoyed it, get subscribed for more tech content on the way, and I'll see y'all in the next video.